Hello fellow old schoolers and welcome to Spice Wars. So let's just take a moment to look through this setup here. On the face of it, it seems all over the place, but there's a method to this madness. And I think one of the key cards of this Lure of the Land, as I dubbed it, is this card, the Living Plane. It makes all lands 1/1 creatures and gives lands summoning sickness. So imagine if you have like this critter here and puts a lure on it and attacks. Well, then all the lands die. What could be better than that? Well, this guy with a lure. If he survives, all the opponent lands get stolen by you. We also have the Eureka. No, but you can put down some free Triskelions then, and Triskelions can shoot up the lands as well. And you could also get Elder Dragons out, why not? So we have Nicol Bolas here, 7/7 flying, and the opponent discards his entire hand if it ever touches base. So that was a very brief rundown of the Lure of the Land. Let's check out the next deck. It's called the Caretaker. Pretty cool, right? As the name suggests, it's built around the Hell's Caretaker. You can tap to exchange creatures from play and from the graveyard. So we can use Blazing Effigy for that. It'll do damage, and if they trigger each other, they'll do twice as much damage each time they get switched out. We've got Rook Eggs for 4/4 creatures that flies every time we do it. Got the Untitled that gives us 2 life each time we do it. We can sacrifice them to this chick right here. And if ever we get too many creatures in the graveyard, there's the All Hallows Eve to get them right back. And not getting outdone by the Lure of the Land, we also have a legend here. This fella. And he can actually retrieve creatures from the graveyard as well. So this entire deck is like a sacrifice deck, where it draws benefits for each sacrifice, and either pumping the Fallen Angels or using the Hell's Caretaker to switch Rook Eggs with Blazing Effigies and Untitleds to gain life, do damage, and create 4/4 flyers. So this is the matchup for today. Let's get it on. And we have the sprawling, uncontrolled life force that is the Lure of the Land on the right here in that tuxedo, the fake tuxedo. And on the left is Death Incarnate, the Undead, the Hell's Caretaker. So that way it's actually a pretty thematic battle right here. So this is round 1, and I believe this is the third or fourth. It's the 4th round of the Long Island Cup actually. And these guys are both playing for position in the tournament and also for most creative deck. Oh, that's not a good hand. He only has a Mox. So yeah, that's a mulligan down to 6 for the Lure of the Land. Down to 6 cards here. And the Caretaker deck is on the play. Starting out with a Swamp. Okay, we've got a Mox Sol Ring. Oh, and okay, immediately into a Time Twister from the Lure of the Land here. And he actually had a Lotus in hand. Should have played that, I suppose. But the Caretaker has to put it right back in the deck. Drawing a new hand. So it provided some card advantage and early mana for the Lure deck here. Oh, and now it's his turn to draw a Lotus. Passing the turn. So that's a pretty hefty start for the Lure deck. Okay, there's a Scavenger Folk. And okay, here's the hand. Lure Mines for his Lightning Bolt, Sit in a Bottle, and a Channel and a Fireball. Uh-oh. And he has a Lotus out, so he can actually make it work. That's game. There's a hand from the Caretaker. There's also a Lotus and a 2-turn, an Untitled, and a Diamond Valley to sacrifice creatures to. It won't help you, buddy. Too bad. It's a nice hand though, but channel, yeah, he's just counting them up. Boom. Okay, so that was a very fast first game here. Lure of the Land takes it on the classical combo of Channel Fireball turn 2. This is round 2 after sideboard. And the Caretaker is on the play as well. Let's hope he can make something happen here. Okay, another Scavenger Folk here. Okay, the Lure of the Land starts out with a turn 1 library and a Mox Pearl. Scavenger Folks attacks. Okay, and has a Lotus at this point. So he has a tendency to draw Black Lotus in the opening hand here. Cracking the Lotus for another Scavenger Folk and an Untitled. So he puts on a lot of early pressure here, while the Lure of the Land tries to accumulate card advantage. Drawing an extra card. Okay, and Lightning Bolting the Untitled. So that actually nets 2 life to the Caretaker deck here. Each time the Untitled goes to the graveyard, it provides 2 points of life to its owner. Okay, sacking the Scavenger Folk for Mox Pearl. Yeah, I'm supposed to keep the Lure deck back, but he doesn't play white. But of course, the Caretaker player, he doesn't know that. Fireballing the Scavenger Folk away. So now he has all the time in the world to just build his card advantage here. Another Scavenger Folk. The Lure deck just keeps on drawing cards here. There's a Ashnod's Altar. You can sacrifice creatures for 2 colorless mana with that. And it gets immediately destroyed by the Scavenger Folk. I'm not really sure what the Lure uses Ashnod's Altar for. It could be to sacrifice his own lands for extra mana and then just fireball the opposing player out. Anyway, that's a Thicket Basilisk now. We talked about that earlier. It's a very rare sight at these tournaments, but so cool. Factory, look at all the lands he has. Okay, that's a Wheel of Fortune. Oh, and he had a Channel in hand and a Demonic Tutor. That was like the luckiest Wheel of Fortune ever. Or he would have died to a Channel Fireball next round. There's 2 Tigers and a Volcanic Island. Okay, no, the Lure deck needed black mana to cast the Tutor actually. That's why he waited. Otherwise that would be game again. But he has a Basilisk out, he has a working library. At least the Wheel of Fortune actually rectified a lot of the card advantage the Lure deck has accumulated, because the Caretaker deck got an entire new hand. But it's just looking at the board state here, the Lure deck is just exploding. I mean, he has so much mana and he has creatures. Has a Triskelion. Has a 4/4 creature with 3 counters and can use those counters to do 1 point of damage, and if it does so, it will lose 1 power and 1 toughness. It costs 6 mana though. Okay, so chooses to fireball the Basilisk, and he does this because if you fireball the Triskelion, it can just, as a fast effect, shoot all its stuff away. Oh, but that could have been a mistake. Here's a Living Plane. Now all the lands are 1/1 creatures. Will he activate the Triskelion now? Yeah. Look at this. Just shooting. That's 3 land destruction spells just set off right there. Then he casts Ancestral Recall. Yeah, he has a Time Twister in hand as well, but this is just insane. And then he attacks. Yeah. And when the Living Plane is out, lands have Summoning Sickness, so even if you put down a land, you can't tap it immediately. There's another Triskelion that's, yeah, he just shoots the final lands away, and the caretaker forfeits the game here. So it's a really, really smooth lure deck. 2-0 win right here. But these guys were good sport, so they played a third game. It went so fast, so why not, right? We get an extra one for free here. Time walking, look at this. It's filthy. It's just a recall. He's not exactly unlucky. I know that the lure deck, the last tournament it played in, I think it was at NoobCon actually. It did fairly well there as well. It's deceptively strong. Time Twister, but I mean, if you draw your power like this every game, it's pretty hard to play against, right? So that's a pretty big card advantage he has at this point. Mox, Sol Ring, and no, 2 Mox, and a Sol Ring and 2 lands. Okay, but now it's the caretaker's turn to get something out. 3 Birds of Paradise and a Scavenger Folk. Okay, he's really mana fixed at this point. Lightning bolting the Scavenger Folk. He could have used a... Oh no, he places Triskelion, saps all the birds away. Squawk. Okay, there's a sushi coming down. He could have used the bird that didn't have summoning sickness to activate the Scavenger Folk to destroy the Sol Ring though, but yeah, never mind that. There's 2 Triskelions now, but at least the caretaker has enough mana out to get some of his own troops out, but he hasn't got any of his combinations off, and it's pretty hard to put out a Hell's Caretaker against those Triskelions because they'll just shoot him down. What's happening here? There's a lot of mana getting tapped. Oh, it's a Brain Geyser for 5 cards. Essence Altar. Passing the turn. Okay, so the caretaker tries to win back some of the initiative here and goes on the attack. Yeah, he wants to trade with those Triskelions now because he's probably afraid of a living plains at this point. Gets out on Untitled, so okay, he has enough strength now to. But look at all the land of the lure deck. Okay, disenchanting the sushi. Untitled comes over for 2 points of damage here. Passing the turn. Lure deck counts as mana. Oh yeah, what he does here is he taps all his lands, and after he has tapped them, he sacrifices both birds to the Asnod's Altar for extra mana. And that actually provides enough mana just to fireball the other guy out for 20 points of damage. Something in that area. So, very fast game, 3-0 for the lure deck. I wonder how well the lure deck will do in this one. It could be pretty cool if you top 8s. It's a very deceptively strong deck, it seems. Too bad that we didn't get to see some of the nifty combinations from the caretaker deck. I do hope we have some more recordings of that deck when it gets the ball rolling. Anyway, after this, I think I have a video of some more medium spiky builds to see. And then after that, we'll see what comes up. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.